I'm Amy, thanks for tuning in. This is my February TBR video and I'm really excited about reading this month because I feel like since about last September I've been editing Mina and the Cult, I was working on promoting the Taste of Darkness anthology and I just haven't had a lot of energy for reading, but this month I'm going away for a few days during the month. I'm also going to dedicate a lot more energy to reading because I'm not on a tight deadline anymore. So what I've done is given myself a massive pile of books to choose from. I don't think I'll have time to read all of them, but I thought this way I've got lots of genres in here, so there should be something for whatever mood I'm in at different points of the month. So let's get into it. The first book I want to read is Crazy for You, which is the Tales of Point Horror book club pick for February. I've been really trying to join in with this book club every month. I was a guest last month reading Forbidden Game book 3, but usually I end up prioritising proof copies and early copies that I have to read if I'm going to blurb a book, and that seems to be just about all I read last year. So this year I'm really going to try and join in with the clubs and the challenges that I want to be involved with. So this one I don't know anything about. I don't think I read it back in the 90s, and I'm not going to read the blurb because it's quite nice to go into these not knowing anything. But if you're interested in checking out the book club, Point Horror Books, I think these were mostly written in the 90s, and Tales of Point Horror book club on Instagram, run by a lovely Shelley, is a monthly book club where everybody reads the book and then chats on an Instagram live at the end of the month, and it's really fun, so I'd recommend checking that out if you want to join us. I really enjoyed The Gathering by CJ Tudor, which I read towards the end of last year and comes out in a couple of months this year, so I decided to pick up The Drift. When the publisher sent me The Gathering, they also sent this one the same week, I think, which is CJ Tudor's latest book, which just come out in paperback at the time. I don't know much about it apart from that it has a wintry setting and it says on the front, "Outside a storm rages, inside a killer lurks." I love that tagline. CJ Tudor's writing is amazing. She writes really atmospheric, original horror that feels very pacey and cinematic, and she's just become one of my favourite authors. So I don't know why I didn't pick this one up when it came out in hardback. I think I must have just been deep in drafting or editing mode. So I'm really glad that I've got the opportunity to read it now. Next, I'm going to read a book that was sent early. I think this is a proof copy, and this book comes out in February, The Bad Ones by Melissa Albert. I know that it is now February, or nearly February at the time I'm filming this, and I haven't had a chance to read it yet, so I really want to prioritise it. The tagline says, "Goddess, goddess, count to 5 in the morning, who's alive?" I remember being asked if I wanted to read this one, and the blurb just sounded so good that I had to pick it up. So it says on the back, "A game gone wrong, a town full of secrets, a missing friend. House of Hollow meets A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. The Bad Ones is a creepy and twisting supernatural thriller that will keep you hooked until the very last page." I love a supernatural thriller, so I'm really excited about this one. Definitely going to try and read it this month. Next up, a pre-order that I'd forgotten about, and I'm so hyped for this because lately I'd not read any Rachel Harrison books until the end of last year, and I picked up Bad Dolls in Forbidden Planet, not knowing much about Rachel Harrison's books, and absolutely loved it. So since then I've read Such Sharp Teeth, which was fantastic, and I pre-ordered Black Sheep, and then I'd forgotten that it was coming out and my pre-order arrived, so I added it straight into the pile. So this one says, "Nobody has a normal family, but Vesta writes is truly something else. Vesper left home at 18 and never looked back, mostly because she was told that leaving the staunchly religious community she grew up in meant she couldn't return. But then an invitation to the wedding of Vesper's cousin Rosie arrives. Something inside her insists she go, even if it means returning to the toxic environment she escaped, even if it means reuniting with her mother, Constance, a former horror film star and forever ice queen. When Vesper's homecoming exhumes a terrifying secret, she's forced to reckon with her family's beliefs and her own crisis of faith in this fiery, irreverent horror novel from the acclaimed author of Cackle, Such Sharp Teeth and Bad Dolls." There's something about Rachel Harrison's books where every element of them I'm just nodding and saying yes, yes, more of this. I love the fact of the religious dimension, whether this is going to end up being a cult type environment. The fact that her mother was a horror movie star back in the day is just so cool. I really am looking forward to this. I might have to pick it up first. And then next I've got some romance novels because I realised that I haven't read any romance for ages and it's a genre I do enjoy. But lately I've been gravitating towards horror, thrillers, mysteries more. So I thought I'd pick up a couple of romances this month, and I asked my friend Mia, who is a big romance reader, to recommend some. So these are the books that she chose for me, so I'm hoping that I'm going to really enjoy these and get back into romance. The first one is It Happened One Summer. I tried reading one Tessa Daily book in the past, My Killer Vacation. I wasn't in the mood for it at the time, so I put it down. But I've heard that this one is really good. It's quite chunky for a romance novel. And it's got a real long blurb, so I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it just says at the top, Tessa Bailey is back with a Schitt's Creek inspired rom-com about a Hollywood it girl who's cut off from her wealthy family and exiled to a small Pacific Northwest beach town where she butts heads with a surly, sexy local who thinks she doesn't belong. That sounds really good. I do love a small town romance, which is one of the specifications I gave to Mia, so she's definitely pulled through on this one, and I'm looking forward to seeing what I think of it. The next book that Mia recommended is Flawless by Elsie Silver. I don't know much about this one. It has a much cuter cover than I normally pick up, so I'm intrigued to see what I'll think of this. On the back it says, the rules were simple, keep my hands off his daughter, but now I'm stuck with her. There's only one bed, and well, rules are made to be broken. I feel like this is going to be full of excellent tropes. And it's about a cowboy type character looking at it. It says, I'm the golden boy of professional bull racing, or at least I was until it all blew up in my face. Now my agent says I have to clean up my image, so I'm stuck with his bull busting daughter for the rest of the season as my full-time supervision. I don't need a goddamn babysitter, especially one with skin-tight jeans, a sexy smirk, and a mouth she can't stop running. A mouth I can't stop thinking about. She says this means nothing. I say this means everything. She says there are boundaries we shouldn't cross, that my reputation can't take any more hits, and neither can her damaged heart. I say I'm going to steal it anyway. That sounds so fun. This is why I'm leaning towards romance. I think towards the end of last year, I just really wanted fun fiction because I was working so hard, and this definitely sounds like it. So the next book I'm going to read was one sent by a publisher. Piccadilly Press sent me this one, and I'm so pleased because I absolutely loved Shiver Point It Came From the Woods, which was Gabriel Dillon's middle grade debut that came out last September, and this is the follow-up, A Tap at the Window. I'm not going to read the blurb because I just feel like with horror I want to go into it not knowing much, but look at the creepy cute scarecrow at the front. I'm excited about what is tapping at the window, and I sneakily read the first chapter of this. And I just loved Gabriel's writing so much. He previously wrote a young adult book, Whiteout, that is an amazing vampire book.
Come on, vampires! Urgh, nasty!
Set on a ski resort where a group of teens go with their teachers, and then they're cut off from the world by the snow, and people start getting picked off. It's just brilliant. And then his middle grade debut was really, really strong last year. So I'm really excited to see where this series goes. It's got great characters, really fun atmosphere, pop culture references for the adults reading. It is great. Next, I've been collecting these Stephen King Ultimate Storytellers and proceeding to not read them. So I've decided I'm going to try every couple of months because I normally take a while to read Stephen King's. They're quite chunky. Every couple of months I'm going to try and pick up a Stephen King book and maybe read it over 2 months because I love his writing, but I do find it quite detailed and dense, and I kind of like to take my time over it. And this one, Desperation, I know very little about. It says on the front, a massive volume of terror by the Daily Mail. And on the back it says that Desperation is a creepy ex-copper mining town. It's now abandoned, and then a local cop stops some people in the town, and it says the secrets buried in Desperation are as terrifying as the forces summoned to encounter them. A terrifying transformation is taking place, and the travellers will soon discover the true meaning of desperation. It sounds fun. I don't know much more than it says in the blurb. I don't think I've ever seen a movie adaptation of this one, so I'll be excited to see what it is like. Next up, Signed, Sealed, Dead. I normally try to read Cynthia's books as soon as they come out because I love them. I haven't had a chance to get to this one yet because of deadlines, so I'm looking forward to picking this up in February. This is about a girl who is obsessed with true crime, and she moves to a new place. It's Cynthia's first book set in America, and it says that Paige receives a note, and I'll read the note to you. It says on the back, "Dear Paige, welcome to your new home in Shorehaven. We've been waiting for some new blood. Speaking of blood, did you know the girl who lived in this house before you was murdered? She wasn't the only one. But dead girls have secrets, Paige. So do the people in this town. Who can you trust? It's down to you to expose them, otherwise history will repeat itself." It sounds really fun. I think there's some mixed media in this one as well, which Cynthia employed in The Midnight Game. I was trying to think which book did she use mixed media in. Yeah, this one I think has little notes. Maybe it has diary entries, I think I read somewhere. So I'm really looking forward to this. Next, we have the YA Book Club pick for February. I randomly went for the theme of pink and purple books just because the first 2 or 3 I picked up happened to be pink or purple. And this was the one that the book club voted for. If you're wanting to join us, the best way to get hold of this book seems to be secondhand. I think it is out of print, but there are lots of copies online if you want to join in. So this says on the back, Babysitter's Club meets the chilling adventures of Sabrina. I also read it was The Adventures in Babysitting meets Buffy. I don't know loads about it. I think that the cover is so cool. I don't know whether it's set in the 90s or whether it just has 90s vibes, but I've really been craving stuff like this lately, so I'm looking forward to reading this and chatting with the book club. Next up, I have another chunky book that I don't think I'll manage to read in 1 month. It's non-fiction. I usually read non-fiction quite slowly. This one is for the True Crime Book Club, which is run by Spookish Mommy over on Instagram. They read a book a month, and I tend to dip into them if they're the serial killer or cult variety of books, which come up quite often. And this one says it's the untold story of a serial killer on Cape Cod. Don't know much about it. I don't think I've read any other Casey Shone books that I remember. And it says it's about something that happened in 1969. So very intrigued by this one. I love the non-fiction books I read last year and didn't read as many as I wanted to. So this one goes on the huge pile. Next we have Survive the Night by Riley Sager. I keep seeing Riley Sager's books absolutely everywhere. I've read Final Girls, I think when it came out, and I enjoyed it. And I've been trying to get more books out of the library, and I saw this one calling to me from the new in shelf. I don't think it's a new book out, but I think it's just new into my library. So I'm going to try and get a couple of books a month from the library because I keep buying books and then they just go on the shelf. There's no room. So this one, I believe, is about a girl who thinks that she might be being driven across the country by a serial killer. It's quite short by adult thriller standards. The font's quite big, so I reckon I'll read this one pretty fast and hopefully get another author that I can get into. So that is it for my TBR pile. As I've said, it's huge, so let me know if there's a book that you think I should prioritise, or let me know in the comments if there is one of the book clubs I'm getting involved in that you would like to get involved in as well. As always, likes and subscribes are really appreciated, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!